Hellverine, issue number 1 from Marvel Comics. So this is the final issue of this miniseries. I'll do a super quick recap. So basically, in a previous event, Wolverine and Ghost Rider encountered this demon called BAGRA-GHUL who had possessed this young boy and was using the boy's body as like a vessel to transform Hellfire and kill innocents and then stitch them into this weird, grotesque kind of pillars of gore and flesh. It was kind of cool. Anyways, they were able to defeat BAGRA-GHUL and lock him up into this like stone. But in the first issue of Hellverine, the ghoul was able to escape and then possess the dead body of Akihiro, which is Logan's son. And Logan was hired by the government to go track down Akihiro and stop him because Akihiro, now as the Hellverine, is going around and murdering people. But he is only murdering people with sin. So he's murdering evil, corrupt people. Meanwhile, the government has this secret project called Project Hellfire, where they are using Hellfire to transform the corpses of soldiers to create super soldiers that will follow their orders. And it turns out that the leader of this project, his name is General Harms. General Harms is a terrible person. He's someone who went through a bunch of like secret special missions as when he was a soldier, and he was going around, he was murdering like innocent people and things like that. What happened was there was one moment where the family of his current enemies, like the America's current enemies, were hiding out in this like church, and him and the soldiers busted in the church, started shooting up all the civilians, and he found the skull of a demon that this family had killed, and they had kept the skull. And as he was holding the skull, one of the civilians shot him in the face, and as he was dying, his blood bled into the skull, and the skull basically said, hey, I'll grant you powers of hell and make you a demon, and in return, you have to basically use your position in the government to rise up the ranks and start taking control of the government from within and hand over that power to hell. So he started doing that. Meanwhile, the soldiers that were used in the Project Hellfire have been going to seek things that they enjoyed in life. So, for example, one of them went to go to his widow's house, and Wolverine was forced to confront him and kill him. Meanwhile, the only remaining soldier from that platoon that survived, he's handicapped. So he confronts General Harms and tells him, hey, I'll keep my mouth shut, but I want to be in on Project Hellfire, and I want you to make me a super soldier so that I'll be able to walk again. And so they decide to put him under the test. Meanwhile, Akihiro gets confronted by Logan. Logan is able to use his powers to rip out BAGRA-GHUL from out of Akihiro, but then Akihiro starts dying and decomposing in front of him as Wolverine transforms into Hellverine. And that's how the last issue ended. And this issue starts off in the Pentangle, which is a secret base underneath the Pentagon, which is where the Project Hellfire is home. It's like the home base of Project Hellfire. And the soldier, his name is Leon Townsend, that was handicapped, comes out and he's now imbued with the power of Hellfire and he's able to walk. And he basically says he's going to go find his squad. Meanwhile, we cut back to Logan, who's holding the decomposing body of his son. And as BAGRA-GHUL is within him, he realizes that the demon hasn't been tamed, but it has been altered. The compulsion to kill is still within BAGRA-GHUL, but now it will only kill those who traffic in evil. And so Wolverine realizes that, you know what? That's good with me. And so he puts the powers of BAGRA-GHUL back into his son Akihiro, and his son is reborn. So the whole like Akihiro dying again in the last issue was basically just a fake out. It was just a false cliffhanger because Akihiro is now back again as the Hellverine. Meanwhile, General Harm has Madam Secretary in his arms. She is dead. In the last issue, she was attacked by one of the super soldiers. And basically, General Harm wants to bring her back because if not, then he will basically face a tribunal where he will either be executed or he'll be locked away in a prison, never to see sunlight again. And because basically the government's like, we want to see results from your Project Hellfire, and we're not seeing anything good. So you have until dawn to show us something. And so he's like, all right, well, we need to bring her back alive. And then Logan's talking with Akihiro about how they should just leave, how, you know, now that you're back, we can just go out and we don't have anything to do with Project Hellfire. We can just leave that whole situation alone. Akihiro's like, no, like, I feel like I gotta finish this. Shows his claws. His claws are no longer the same claws that Wolverine has. And he's like, see, my claws have changed. It's not pretending I'm you anymore. So now, like, I have these powers. And I gotta see this through. And you're either with me or you can leave me alone. And Logan's like, all right, fine. Like, let's do this. I'm gonna be skipping a bunch of pages. So we have Hellfire in his car with Madam Secretary. She's been brought back to life. And they're driving on their way towards the White House. He basically realizes, you know what? If Project Hellfire can be used to have a demon possess a body, why not have it be used to possess a country? So he heads towards the White House to, I guess, use Project Hellfire to take over. But that's when Hellverine shows up, slices his van, and destroys it. And then we have this cool scene where Wolverine is chasing down Madam Secretary as she's making a run for it. And he stabs her with his claws as he's riding on the motorcycle. He drags her on the street, and then he shoves her head into his back tires and basically just grinds it up until there's nothing left. So I was like, all right, that's a really cool scene. And Logan's like, you know what? I feel bad for this, but you're already dead, so whatever. Meanwhile, Hellverine confronts General Harm, and that's when the remaining soldiers of the Project Hellfire show up, and I'm going to stop it there. I don't want to spoil everything. I will say this. I enjoyed the series. Don't really care for Akihiro as a character. This is my first time, like, actually, well, is this my first time seeing Akihiro? I might have seen him in, like, one other issue from, like, another series. But I don't know. I don't really know much of him, and from what I've seen here, he's fine, I guess. He doesn't interest me all that much. I thought this was interesting. I don't know how I feel about them bringing him back, because I heard that he had, like, a decent send-off, so maybe they should have left him dead. I will say I didn't like the fake out where they had him dying as a cliffhanger. Like he literally died, and he's like decomposing and falling apart as like skeletal remains in Logan's arms. And all of a sudden, the next issue, Logan's like, actually, you know what? This demon isn't that bad. Here's your powers back. And then he comes back to life. And I was just like, oh, okay. Well, I guess him dying was nothing. Artwork is great. I like the artwork. I like the premise. I will say that this issue seems to suffer from what every miniseries suffers from, and that's a rushed ending. And I've said this before, and I will continue to say this. How do you have a rushed ending when you know how many issues you're going to get? Do you just not do a better job of planning out your issues? Like, if Marvel came up to me and said, Pirate, you got 5 issues to tell me a story, go. I will go and sit there and I will plan out, okay, here's what's going to happen in each individual issue. And if something feels rushed, then I will work and change that, maybe drop some things. Hell, maybe I might even need to come up with a completely different story to fit that 5 issues. But I see this all the time where we see miniseries and everything is fine. Like the first issue might be a bit slow, and then 2, 3, and 4 might be, or in this case, 2 and 3, things are actually going, you know, the wheels are in motion. And then 4, everything comes to an end, and it feels rushed. And I'm just thinking, can you not pace this any better? And I'm not blaming this on just Benjamin Percy, who wrote this series, because I see this with every miniseries. It feels like a manga that just got the axe, where we're like, oh, okay, we've got to tie up all the loose ends in one issue. And I'm just thinking, can you not have just planned a little bit better so your story flows, you know, a little bit more consistently so things aren't rushed at the very end? So yeah, the end of this is very rushed. There's no like big badass battle scene. The confrontation between all of our characters happens pretty quickly. I did skip it because I don't want to spoil everything. I'll just say that it happens pretty quickly. And then things just kind of end. I will say that things end not so much with the status quo. There are some changes. I won't say what they are, but at least it feels like this miniseries wasn't nothing. You know, it's not like this miniseries started some way. We had some story and then it ended exactly how it started. So we're just right back to the status quo. No, there actually is a fallout, or at least I would assume that there's going to be a fallout from how this series ended. There has to be. So at least, you know, that's cool, because then that means that this series wasn't just done for nothing. But yeah, it feels a little bit rushed. Other than that, this was a pretty decent, interesting miniseries. If you're a fan of Ghost Rider, he doesn't appear in this, but I mean, the spirit of vengeance is kind of involved in the sense that while BAGRA-GHUL is not a spirit of vengeance because he had temporarily taken over Ghost Rider. He has some of that spirit of vengeance powers within him. So there's a bit of a Ghost Rider kind of theme or mood within this. If you like Wolverine, I mean, this is cool. Though I do wish Wolverine had a little bit more to do in this series, especially in the end. I feel like he's kind of just on board for a while. Then he kind of does a little bit of stuff in the second and third issue. And in this issue, it feels like he just, once again, kind of taking a back seat. And he's just kind of along for the ride, which is kind of a shame, because he's the best character in this miniseries. All in all, I would give this issue, I would give it maybe like a 6 out of 10. And then the series overall, yeah, I'd give it like a 6, maybe a 7 out of 10. I'll say 6. 6 out of 10. So it is a good series. So for anyone who doesn't know, 5 for me is average. So 5 is neither good, no bad. It's just average. 6 is good, 7 is great, 8 is amazing, 9 is near perfect, and 10 is perfect. And only one thing has ever gotten a 10 from me. So yeah, this is a 6. This is a good issue and a good series. Not great or anything like that, but it's just a good entertaining read for 4 issues. So if you can handle the kind of rushed ending and stuff, yeah, you might have some fun with this. So there you go. There's Hellverine issue number 4, the final issue of this little mini series. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.